So, even though a lot of people ask me things about wine, I more often than not get asked a ton about sake. Sake is Japanese rice wine. Now, it used to be uniquely Japanese. However, there are some producers now in the United States. So, while its long history is Japanese, it's not necessarily always made in Japan. And I double check your labels if you're looking specifically for a Japanese sake before you buy. Essentially, though, sake has been around for over 2,000 years. It's a rice wine made with natural spring waters and high quality rice, both of which Japan has a plethora of, which is part of why it became so popular there. They also have a more humid environment than a lot of other places in the world, which allows a microorganism called koji to really thrive. So, koji is essentially responsible for miso, soy sauce, and sake production. It thrives in humid conditions similar to mold or mildew. I know that doesn't sound super appealing, but it is. You don't taste that part. It's more of the process of fermentation, which I'll get into in a later video about the parallel fermentations that sake goes through that makes it very unique in the beverage community. But essentially history of sake, right? So over 2,000 years of recorded history of it at this point. There was something called a mouth chew sake that was very popular in the 700s, which was essentially people would chew rice and spit it out. What was actually happening was that people's saliva was starting to break down the starch and allow it to be more easily fermented by the yeast. Obviously, this sake was very cloudy, and it kind of remained cloudy until around the 1600s, 1800s. This is really when clear sake began to really appear pretty regularly on the scene. This is defined as an alcoholic beverage. It contains more than 1% of alcohol by volume, but less than 22% alcohol by volume. It is produced using rice koji, and water. Production methods have to include some kind of pressing and filterization of the mash. Really, those are kind of the three main points of sake production. Some interesting things about sake that are kind of unique to it is it can be enjoyed at various temperatures, right? So while we have mulled wine at warmer temperatures, it's not as common. You definitely, maybe there are some like warmer ciders and things, but sake really spans the whole range there of temperature wise, whether you have really cold, chilled sakes or very warm, hot sakes. It's also really great with food. There's more lactic acid in sake than is in even your wine. So some people say that they tend to pair even better with food than your wine can. And also, a lot of sake is mixed in the market right now. So I think that at some point, people had to get creative how to get consumers to start drinking sake. And one of their creations was kind of the sake cocktail, which is absolutely nothing wrong with it. I've had some really killer sake cocktails, but it's, I guess, similar to sangria in that sense for wine. But it's definitely a fun, versatile alcoholic beverage that doesn't really get a lot of the credit that I think it really should. And then three fun little facts about health benefits of sake. So it does not lower your body temperature as much as other alcoholic beverages do, which is pretty interesting. They say that this allows you to sleep better at night. If you ever have too much wine or spirits or beer, and then you kind of wake up in the middle of the night with like sweating, it supposedly has something to do with your body temperature dropping a bit with the alcoholic consumption, and then essentially your body kind of wakes up after you start processing through all the alcohols, and it's like, oh no, we're too cold, and then it kind of jumps into a little bit of overdrive and overheats you a touch. So you don't really get that effect by drinking sake, which is really fun. It also provides a little bit of energy. This really more has to do with the water than the actual alcohol in this beverage, just because we're using really high quality water sources to make sake. So you have a lot of electrolytes and things like that in there that are very helpful in the long run for it. And then also, there's a lot of claim that sake aids in your good skin complexion. I'm not so sure about that, although there are a lot of beauty brands right now that use the lees or kind of the leftovers from the sake process to make face masks and things with. So who knows? Maybe that does work pretty well.